everyone. This is web design class, and today what we're doing is going through the assignment or going through the material for the assignment on how to create a permission letter. We talked a lot about the copyright, getting copyright, uh, um, and those type of things. Now what we're talking about is if we want to use someone else's image, we need to obtain permission to use that on our website. And that's what this lesson 6 and lesson 7 is all about. We'll go through the information. Um, Basically, when we're talking about getting permission, if you want to use the copyright information, image, or other files for a non-educational website, or use more than the amount allowed under fair use, then you'll need to request permission. First, find out who holds the copyright. Sometimes this is difficult when it comes to online. Oftentimes, some websites don't follow the rules. They might use an image without getting permission, so there might not be information on where they got that. But if it's a personal website and it's someone using their images on their own website, you might be able to contact them that way. Um, like it says here, you've learned how to look for copyright information in your finding, saving, and citing images lesson. You may need to conduct a web search to find contact information such as an email or postal address, or conduct a web image search. Google Images can be a great resource for tracking down the original copyright holder. Avoid requesting permission over the phone. It is best to submit your request and get a reply in writing. You always want to have it in writing because if it's in writing, it's more of a contractual thing. If you get it go by via phone, all you have is your phone conversation between you and the other party. But if you have it written down, it's hard to deny that. If you can't find the copyright information, that does not mean the work is not copyrighted. If you can't find the information, you probably should use just another image because there's probably one similar out there that you can get that information. What to include in the request? Here's what basically if you're sending this letter to get that information, this is what should be included. The title of work, basically what the image is, kind of a description if it doesn't have a title, who the creator or copyright holder is, the web address where the material is located, the intended use of the material, where you're going to use it, where on the website, why you're using it, the form of distribution. It's an assignment for a web design class, or it's a website that to educate people on something or whatever. Um, and then also the location of the distribution, for example, the web address of your site. So all that information needs to be part of that letter that you're requesting to use that image for. Um, Approval granted or denied. Be sure to allow enough time for a response. The copyright holder may have questions, request a fee, or require some restrictions. Keep in mind that copyright owners have full discretion when responding to your request for permission. If something's copyrighted, they don't have to give you that permission. Your permission may be granted or may be denied. Honor that. Respect if they say, "I really don't want you to use that." Respect that decision. It may be granted, but require a fee. That's something that you have to weigh. They say yes, you can use it, but I want $5 a month if you have it on your website. That can be done because it's copyrighted. It's their own. They own it. They can do whatever they want with the fees. The fee may be modest or may be high. If it's high, that means they don't want a lot of people using it. If it's low, then they want their image to be out there. Copyright owners have no obligation to respond at all, but no response does not give you permission to use their materials. So let's say you send that permission letter out today, and you don't hear back for a month, and say, well, they don't care probably, so I'm going to use it. No, you can't do that. If you do not get a response, that assume that it was rejected. Assume that they say no, unless you get a definite yes or no. If you don't have a response, consider it a no. Observing restrictions for most common uses of material beyond fair use for educational or research purposes. You'll often find that copyright owners will be cooperative and will understand your needs. Um, if you copyright something, they want to be able to restrict it enough where they know where it's being used. If it's like a photographer, uh, they want to be able to um, dictate where that image is going to go. Um, obviously, if there's a photographer out there, they want that publicity. They want people to see their images, but they don't want to have it go wherever unlimited. So, like it says, be sure to honor any restrictions carefully. Always keep your approved use letter on file for future reference. Always keep that letter because sometimes their minds might change and say, well, I don't want you to use it anymore. Then, if that happens, tell them to send you a letter restricting it or saying, no, you can't use it anymore. Then it says explore the sample letter, which is typical letter requesting permission to copyright material. So here's where we actually are going to write the permission letter. So you can watch the video on your own here, but basically here are the steps for that. So use the typical format for a business letter, beginning with your name and address, your email address, and date. Include the copyright holder's name, company, and address. State who you are and where you are from, for instance, your school. Describe the work using a complete, correctly formatted citation. It's something that we've already talked about and done. Describe the intended use, form, and location. For instance, a website for a class assignment that will be published at right there. Include place to sign the letter indicating approval. The format will depend on whether you are contacting an individual or company. So here's an example of what that area should look like. And actually, I'll go back and show you the example. So this would be a sample letter. You would just fill in the blanks, your name, address. This would be your information. The date that you wrote the letter out, that may not necessarily the date that you send it out, but always just criteria for writing a letter. You always want to put the date that you actually wrote that letter. Who the person's name is, the company name, the address, dear so-and-so, and here is the typical information that you would put in there. So if you wanted to, you can use this format, but put your own original name and information in that. Okay. And then again, we can watch the video if you want to. And we go to the assignment. So here is the assignment sheet. So after following the Unit 5 instructions, like we just did about obtaining permission to use someone else's work, complete these instructions to write a letter of your own. Do a search on graphs and find an interesting graph that someone has posted on the internet. Use the sample letter from the previous lesson to write a letter to the author of the graph asking permission to use it for a school assignment. You are not going to actually send the letter to the copyright holder. You're just writing it for this assignment. Write your letter in a word processing program such as Word so that you can do a spell and grammar check. Your letter should include all the information shown in that sample letter. So what I showed you previously, you can use that. You can copy and paste that into a document and then fill out the information, the personal information that you need to. If the graph you chose does not have the information, then find a different graph. So like I said before, if you can't find the information about who created it, find another one. You know, it might be the best graph that you've ever seen, but you can't use it unless you can get that information. Okay, save that file as permission letter .text. You can do it in a doc file too. But basically put in the format of a business letter and then submit that to me. Okay. pretty self-explanatory as far as what that is done. So basically, you're going to create that permission letter. Yeah. If you do not have a Word on Microsoft Word on your computer, you can also use OpenOffice Writer, which is that free software. All you have to do is go to openoffice.org, and you're able to download those if you haven't done that already. Okay, so that is the permission letter that you need to complete. And then that's pretty much it. So hopefully that helps you get through the copyright law permission letter assignment 5.07, which is scrolling down, day 1, day 2, and then basically go to the discussion board for that. And then after that, you have the quiz, and we're done with Unit 5. So thanks again for taking the time to watch that. If you have any questions, feel free to get a hold of me. But basically, that's what needs to be done to complete that permission letter assignment. And thanks for joining me.